As the sun rises over Greensboro, Garret Hall is already on a football field.
I don't wake up at 4 a.m. for no reason. I don't hit the practice field at 7 a.m. for no reason. I don't go 100% for no reason.
But to truly understand his reason, you'll have to look to his past.
And it wasn't just a sport to me. It's kind of a way of an escape of life. And my senior year, I started getting a lot of looks.
Garret graduated from Southwestern Randolph High School in 2012. Then he left home for Matthews, North Carolina, to play a semester of football at prep school.
At schools like NC State, Coastal Carolina, checking me out at the time. My thoughts originally, I was like, man, I'm going to try to get as many D1 offers as I can, honestly.
But prep school was also more than 70 miles away from home.
Just something in the back of my head made me feel uneasy. I thought it was just the fact that he was not going to be at home. And then later, I think the reason I felt uneasy is because maybe I knew something was coming.
In a sea of flashing lights on a neighborhood street, 3 teens lay shot.
July 15th, 2012, the day that changed everything.
We were all hanging out in my apartment, and a teammate came over and told us about a party.
Garret and a few teammates ended up at a house in Charlotte.
We stayed in there for about 2 to 3, maybe 5 minutes, and we noticed that we really didn't want to be there.
So they left, but not before the person who invited them stopped to talk in the driveway.
We stood there for maybe 2 or 3 minutes talking to him, and then we were just talking to him, and then I heard a scream.
Garret found himself in a crowd, rushing away from the house as gunshots flew through the air. 1 teenager died that night, but 2 others were shot. Garret quickly realized he was one of them.
I took 3 steps. I remember specifically 3 steps, and my leg gave out. I fell to the ground. I dove on the road, and I crawled across the road on my hands and my stomach. On my hands and my stomach. And I got to the other side of the road, and there was a girl there, and I said, hey, can you help me? And she said no, and took off running.
Garret was alone, in an unfamiliar place, with only his thoughts.
I just looked down. I thought I was going to die. I didn't know what to think. I'm very religious. I cried out to God, praying to save my life. Please don't let it happen to me.
Eventually, help arrived.
The nurses in the back of the ambulance were freaking out, and I asked one of the guys, I looked at him and said, please don't let me die. And he looked and he paused with like a sad face. And he said, I'm going to do my best. And at that point, I thought all hope was gone. I thought I was going to die in that ambulance.
Garret needed surgery on his leg. Doctors told him he might not walk, let alone play football ever again. But as he laid there in his hospital bed, he decided this wasn't the end.
I didn't want to let my parents down.
So for the next year, Garret rehabbed. Not only to get back on the football field, but to prove everyone wrong. He got better and tried to walk on at Liberty University. There wasn't a spot for him, but still, he kept fighting for a second chance. And one day, something changed. Garret's mom sent his story to the 700 Club.
After it aired, a family friend sent Garret's football link to the coach at Greensboro College.
And Garret got a call.
We have any scout guys?
Greg Crum, the Greensboro College head coach, wanted him on his team.
There was a lot of things about Garret that made me want him here. Number one, he's just a great kid. He's a high character guy.
I cried. I'll be honest with you. I told my mom, I went in the next room and I cried, and I told her that a coach wanted me to play for him. And I broke down like a little baby.
Crum didn't even know Garret's backstory when he signed him.
For him to bounce back and be here today, number one, is a blessing. But number two, to be able to play the sport that he loves as hard as he plays it is amazing.
Now, at 23 years old, Garret's a junior in the classroom and a freshman on the field.
It's an accomplishment. Every Saturday, putting on an actual jersey for an actual team.
He proudly wears his number 14 each weekend for the Pride, and it's because all this is about more than a scholarship.
5 years later, everything that everybody said, you would never play again, the doctor said it was physically impossible. I did it, and all that hard work I put in it finally paid off.
Before, Garret Hall's reason for getting back on the field, practicing at dawn, and giving everything he had was for the love of the game. But today, that reason's changed.
Through my story and through what happened, I just want people that have gone through or are going through a tough time in life, whether it's you got shot, you just got out of a bad relationship, you're not doing too good in school, you lost a job, divorce, whatever the situation is, no matter how bad it is, no matter how light it is, you can get through it.
And for Garret, it's about taking life one tackle at a time. Well, that's Garret Hall, and if you take a close look at Garrett's forearm here, he has a tattoo on his arm. It reads Ohana. That's the Hawaiian word for family. Garret was telling me that God and his family are really what got him through this entire journey. So,
what an incredible story.
Right.
What a strong message. What an inspirational young man. You got to know him during this interview. What really stood out? What surprised you most about his journey?
I just think after all of that, for him to continue to fight, I mean, his perseverance, his drive were just inspiring. I was sitting there interviewing him. I interview a lot of people with great stories, but I don't usually get chills as I talk to somebody. You could just feel his passion, and he just knew he was going to be back on the field at some point. It took him 5 years, but he made it.
And how great that the coach picked up on that and knew that, you know, he had been through so much and that would help him both on the field and off the field be a member of this team.
Right, Coach had a lot of great things to say about him, about how he has been such a role model and a leader on this team. The guys look up to him and his story, and they take it as an inspiration, kind of like the rest of us.
Oh goodness, when you said you talked to him and you felt chills, we were watching the story and we felt those chills as well.
He's got a powerful story. I'm glad he's sharing it. So.
Well, thanks a lot, Patrick. We appreciate it.